YouTube Rewind is back in town, and at this point, it needs no introduction. What was once a brilliant way of reviewing the year, going over the best bits and the best trends, is now just YouTube pandering to advertisers while simultaneously, desperately trying to prove it's hip and down with the kids. And ironically, in trying to prove it, they show that they're actually the complete opposite and totally out of touch. Before I get into this year's YouTube Rewind, I'd very briefly like to draw your attention to this. These were my predictions for YouTube Rewind, which I tweeted the day before it came out, and not to toot my own horn, but I was pretty damn accurate. And for once in my life, I really wish I wasn't. You see, in my opinion, the last good YouTube Rewind was all the way back in 2015, and ever since then I've been saying to myself, well, it can't get any worse than that, and every year I've been proved wrong. Just to put that in context for you, back in 2016, YouTube decided to put the damn Daniel kid in the fucking Rewind.
Damn, Daniel!
Oh yes, we're incredibly hip with the kids here at YouTube. Damn Daniel is a funny meme, isn't it? Just like the troll face. Fast forward 365 days and YouTube Rewind 2017 somehow managed to get even worse by basically filling the entire video with fidget spinners and the Paul brothers. And yet, despite it having no Pauls, no fidget spinners and no damn Daniel, YouTube Rewind 2018 somehow managed to be even worse again. It is, in my opinion, the worst YouTube Rewind to date, and within 13 minutes of it being released, it had managed to accumulate 11,000 dislikes. Fast forward a whole 60 seconds, it had gained another 3,000. So why was this year's Rewind so poorly received? Why was it so catastrophic, and why did it fail harder than ever before? Well, that's because this year's Rewind failed on a fundamental level. You see, the theme for this year's Rewind was that you're in charge, you have the power, and that you decide what's on YouTube Rewind. And yet, nothing that any of us really wanted to see was featured. As far as I'm aware, the two biggest demands for this year's Rewind was for PewDiePie to return and for VoiceOver Pete to be in it for some weird reason. And yet, I didn't see either of those people make an appearance. Did you?
We control Rewind this year. Y'all, we can do whatever we want.
And for a Rewind that's promoting the message of you're in charge and you decide what's in this year, well, it's not doing a very good start, is it? So I hear you asking, well, if YouTube didn't give us what we actually wanted, what did they provide us with instead? Well, my friends, they gave us a Johnny Johnny Yes Papa Baby Shark mashup. Who the fuck wanted this in YouTube Rewind? I am pretty confident the vast majority of the fucking platform didn't. What the fuck is that? That is terrifying and eerily similar to a furry. Who the fuck wanted that monstrosity in this year's Rewind?
There's one thing this video needs. K-pop!
No. No, it fucking doesn't. Why, in the name of God, is K-pop in the Rewind? Like, it makes no sense, and it proves perfectly how out of touch YouTube is with the platform. Who the fuck asked for K-pop? And after K-pop, well, they gave us the yodeling kid and some man making a house out of what looks like human feces. And I find that quite funny because, well, Casey Neistat features quite heavily in this YouTube Rewind, and there's a lot of jokes about him being a caveman. And they finished the video off with what looks like caveman technology. I'm just gonna leave that there. K-pop, Baby Shark, and this house of literal turd all show quite well how out of touch YouTube is with the community. However, it's scary to note that this isn't the most out of touch YouTube has been.
I'm going to be making videos regularly. Just check back to my channel.
I'm of course referring back to last September when YouTube CAO Susan Wojcicki made her own YouTube channel and started uploading videos. And yet, despite promising to upload regularly, she quickly realised this was a terrible idea and promptly deleted most of her videos. That is the most out of touch YouTube has ever been. And I hope, for all of humanity's sake, that it never gets worse than that.
Much love, much success, and much luck, and kick ass.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Susan. Was that a swear word in your video? It appears you're getting demonetized. In my opinion, perhaps the weirdest point of this year's Rewind wasn't the tinfoil challenge, it wasn't Dame Tu Cosita, and it wasn't even Lele Pons in a fucking Roblox costume. No, it was the segment dedicated to ASMR. Like, what? Again, it does just show how disconnected YouTube has become, but it's just a very weird choice in general, I think. Say what you want about ASMR, love it or hate it, you do have to admit, for the family-friendly approach that YouTube is taking, it is very weird that they dedicate a segment to ASMR. That really doesn't stick well. The trend that got the most screen time was, of course, Fortnite. And look, to be fair, we all knew it was coming. We all knew Fortnite was definitely going to feature in this year's Rewind, but dear fucking God, I was not prepared for how much Fortnite they rammed into this video. I mean, the video starts on the battle bus, they all skydive onto an island and spend most of the video there, and then later on in the video, they bring the whole fucking theme back up and have several YouTubers I have never seen before doing Fortnite dances. Who the fuck are these two degenerates? One thing's for certain, they're definitely not YouTubers, so why the fuck are they in the video? And most importantly, why, in the name of all things holy, are they doing Fortnite dances? If you see these people in real life, just run the fuck away.
Quit horsing around!
And of course, they got Chinny McPapa Smurf driving the bus. God, would you just go back to Twitch?
Not even a thank you?
They didn't thank you? God, be careful, Ninja. They might be stream snipers. Nowadays, the common meme of YouTube Rewind is that you don't recognise any of the YouTubers put in it, and, well, this year was no exception. In fact, arguably, this year was worse than ever before. I actually counted it out, and the total number of people featured in this year's Rewind was 112. However, I only recognised 19 of those people. And of those 19, only 13 of them are actually YouTubers. Just let that sink in for a moment. I don't even have a joke or a meme to go with that. Just really think about that for a second. The final point I wish to address from this year's Rewind is the message they tried to implement. Now, for the past couple of years, YouTube Rewind has dedicated a brief segment to a positive or serious message, and I don't really dispute that. I have no problem with it. It's actually quite a good idea, in my opinion.
You know who really needs to be in this Rewind video? Everyone who managed to do something bigger than themselves this year.
Can we also give a moment to Asian representation in entertainment this year? Major strides were made.
And to the people who've put aside their differences.
Yeah, and created something really special.
Here's to all women in 2018 finding their voices.
Foi muito bacana ver como as mulheres cresceram esse ano. Elas ganharam poder.
Can we give a moment to working moms? Ganbarimashou.
This year's message was about empowerment and equality. Now, it's actually a pretty decent message, in my opinion, but my issue is with the way they handled this message. They did not do a very good job of it, in my opinion. Instead of being detailed or specific and making a really good solid point, praise is just kind of thrown at very general, vague groups of people. The three I noticed being women, mothers, and Asian people. Now don't get me wrong, they do deserve their praise. It's more the fact that they made this point in such a vague way. Such a vague way that the point isn't really made at all. And it makes the whole point sound very forced. It doesn't sound genuine at all, and this really doesn't do any good for the message. And while we're on the subject of messages, it's probably worth mentioning Article 13, or, in this case, the lack of it. Now, we all know what Article 13 is at this point. I'm not even going to bother explaining it. The point is, YouTube has been very vocal about Article 13 in the past few months. They've spoken up against it, they've been campaigning against it, and yet there was no mention of it at all in this year's Rewind. Whether you love or hate YouTube Rewind, it is one of the rare occurrences where the entire YouTube platform comes together to watch a video. And not just the whole of YouTube, but many people from outside of YouTube come along to have a look as well. So you have all these people focused on one video. And like I said, this rarely ever happens. And so this would have been the perfect time to bring up Article 13. You could have made a point, you could have spoken out against it, and you could have really hammered the message home with all these people watching, and yet they don't even mention it once. And in my opinion, that is just a really wasted opportunity. In conclusion, YouTube Rewind was a complete shit show. And what's even worse is, we all expected it to be a shit show. We all went into this video knowing it would be terrible. And that is just not a good thing. This is usually the part of the video where I say, oh well, at least it can't get any worse from here. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I really wouldn't. YouTube Rewind is sadly no longer an accurate summary of the year. It is instead a family-friendly, advertiser-friendly mask that YouTube puts on once a year. And in doing so, it ignores some of the platform's biggest people, events, and issues. And at this point, I don't think I'm even angry at YouTube Rewind or YouTube. I just don't think I'm even angry at them anymore. I'm just disappointed and saddened. Happy Christmas! Thanks very much, as always, for watching the video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, maybe consider liking. You can subscribe to my channel to see more content, and you can check out my social medias in the description so you never miss an update from me. Any support you can throw me, my little channel, and my T-Rex called Tyrone is greatly appreciated, and it really does mean the world to me. Thanks in advance for anything you can do. If you'll excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm off to try and figure out who the 93 people I didn't recognise in this year's YouTube Rewind actually are. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next hecking video.